Hey Curated Crew, today I've got a really inexpensive way to improve your videos. The Zhiyun Cinepeer Weebill 3E Gimbal. This gimbal is only $250 right now, but you can get it for $199 if you go to their link in the description and use code ZY3E10 at checkout. Let's be clear, you don't have to be a creator to want and like this type of product. If you have a lot of family gatherings or kids sports or events that you like to go to and you like recording video with your camera but want to upgrade your footage a bit, this is a very inexpensive way you can do that. Oh, and just so you know, this is not a sponsored video. I bought this with my own money and I'm not an affiliate with them either. Just want to get you all of the good stuff. All right, without further ado, let's see what's inside the box. Oh, really nice case here with the Zhiyun logo, or I guess indentation on the case. This is like a foam. See a lot of cameras and lenses coming in this type of almost like styrofoam box. So we pop this off. Yeah. And yeah, no frills, no fuss, no muss. Here it is. So we have, let's take a look at what's in here. There are, looks like just cables. This is just an Allen key. I'll take that out in a sec. So this is the screw for the plate and then cables for connections. So USB-A to USB-C and then USB-C to USB-C and then the screw. Put that aside. We have the actual plate here that I mentioned that this screw is for, so this goes in here. And we have this is the tripod base. So here it is. And then this is the gimbal. So it looks really good. First thing I noticed is this feels really sturdy. I've used a few gimbals at this point and this one feels super solid. It's sturdy, it has some thickness in the handle. The actual arms of this gimbal feel like this won't shift or wobble once it starts moving. See in the back here, there's a screen, the joystick, record button. I think this M is a menu button. Trigger up front. This is a roll here for the access, power button, menu button. Oh, this M is actually mode. So of course, if I lock these, you'll get a better look at it. Yep. We just have to stabilize and put a camera on here. So let me go get a camera and I'll put one on here and we'll get it set up and balanced. Now that we have everything unboxed, let's take a look, assemble and balance the gimbal and the camera. Today I'm going to be using the ZV-E10 with the Sigma 16mm 1.4. Right here I have the extension that I mentioned for the arm. We have the tripod, we have the gimbal, we have the camera, and then we have the base plate, screw, and Allen key with the two cords. Now we're unlikely to use this moving forward. I'm likely going to do the Bluetooth setup, but let's cross that bridge when we get there. All right, so first let's attach the plate to the camera. So this plate uses this screw. When attaching, the hole on the plate by the Zhiyun sign goes forward. So we got to get that set up. There's actually a threading in here. Not sure if you can see it, but there's a threading in this hole where this screw goes. Once it goes in, it floats freely though. So you can adjust it to your camera. And now you see it's in, but it can't come out, but it moves freely on the plate. So you can put it anywhere on your camera, all right? Let's put this, so this is the camera, like I said, a ZV-E10 with a Sigma 16mm. I'm gonna put this on the front hole, so there are two holes. I'm gonna put this on the front and then get it screwed in. And now you wanna get this screwed in pretty tight because once you have this set up, according to how you orient the camera, you're gonna have to apply pressure to this, and it's only one screw. So you want to get this in tight, so once this connects to the gimbal, there's no play, there's no movement, the camera doesn't shift left or right when you're turning, etc. So again, the hole has to go to the front, so I'm going to swing this around. I'm going to move this just before the back of the camera, so the plate is going to slide in just before the back of the camera, and then I'm going to tighten. So that's all can go with my hand, and now I'm going to use the Allen head. I like to use the long side first and then tighten with the, make sure it's straight, that's important as well. I think this is, as you can see, and then tighten with this. All right, that's it. So that's there. So this is how it looks. All right. Now I'm going to attach the extra handle. Now again, I'll put the link to this in the description. I think this is fantastic. A lot of these gimbals come with extra hand accessories and stuff. It's ergonomic and it feels good in the arm, but I think you can achieve the same or similar results if you just use an extender. This is the gimbal. There are 3 ports here to take the standard accessory from the sling grip, as they call it, but I'm going to just use this in the middle one and put this in. Get it tight so that it doesn't fall out. And then I'm going to attach the tripod accessory to it. So now I take the tripod and put that in here. Get that in tight. So now look at the reach of the gimbal. So now you can reach all the way out, you can come back, you can get up high, you can get down low, and you don't have to bend or break your back. I think this is worth it. So pro tip, get this extra handle. Now let's put the camera on and then balance this gimbal. So right here, I am going to turn the gimbal and start by locking some of the axes. We've locked this one, and then we've locked this one, and now we left this one open because now we got to put in the camera and start leveling it from both directions. Balancing it, I should say. So now I try to put the camera in. It's not wide enough, right? So the plate that's here is not able to go into the slot. So I'll have to move this over to the side. So you see now it's moved over to the side. I can put this in, lock it, and lock here. Now that we have the camera mounted, we have to align the camera or balance it and make sure that the center of gravity is across the center of the tilt motor on the right hand side. So as you can see, if I let go, it leans forward a lot, and that's because all of the weight, the center of gravity is along this line here, so all of the weight runs to the front of the camera with the lens and it's falling down. So that means we have to take the camera and pull it back, right? Now to do that, we use this lever here on the left side. This lever holds the plate onto the gimbal. So if I unlock this, you make sure I'm actually holding the camera here, you see the camera starts sliding, right? So now if I tilt the camera up, you can see from the top, let me shift center it a little bit. You can see the weight starting to balance. Let's see, still leaning forward. I gotta pull it back a little bit. Let me lock and go again. Okay, and I'll lock it there. It's a little bit of trial and error. All right, let me lock and try there. So you see, now that's straight ahead. And if you look from the front, you can see it's pretty much straight ahead, really close, all right? So now that we have the camera balanced on the tilt axis this way, we have to balance it this way. So the camera has to be balanced in this direction with the lens facing up so that it doesn't want to fall back like this, right? So as you can see, if I let it go, it drops forward a little bit, and that means that we have too much of the camera on this scale here, too much of the camera to the front. As you can see, it's all the way down to the end. So we likely need to move this back this way to get the camera to balance. So let's do that. Open this and then just kind of slide this back along the scale here and then close it. Let's see. Oh, too far back, so it's going back the other way. All right, so now let's open this and push it back. Test again. So now it's going, nope, too far back this way. All right, this might be it here. Let's see. Yep, so now the camera is balanced this way and it's balanced that way. So you see it doesn't roll in either direction. So now we have the camera balanced both forward and upward. Now that we have the tilt motor done, we could lock it. So I'll just raise this up so you see. We can use here and lock this motor in place, right? So you see it clicked into place. Now it's locked, it's not going anywhere. So we don't have to worry about it. Now let's balance the roll motor. So this motor is the one that allows the camera to spin in like a barrel type motion. Let us balance that one. So now everything is locked. We want to open the tilt lock, the roll lock here, as you can see. It's locked right now. Let's open it. When you open it, be sure that you support the camera, because if you don't, it is going to flip, right? So if we unlock, you'll see the camera drop, right? So, okay, now we have the camera. You can see it's not balanced. It needs to balance this way. So we need to balance it with this motor here, which is fine. I showed you this a little bit earlier. And if I go back just quickly and unlock here, I can show you what you have to use. So this lock here, if you unlock that, that allows you to slide the camera back and forth. So you see the camera is tilting this way. That means we need to slide it back this way a little bit, right? So you see it's going this way. So I'm gonna lock this back just so that we don't have to deal with it again. But now you know, you go under here, you open that lock, and now let's slide the camera until it doesn't fall to either side. We're almost there. Slide, I'm holding, but you can see. And I am going to lock right here and see how we look. All right, so now we don't roll left or right on the camera and we're good to go. So now we've balanced the camera. If I take off the tilt lock for 1 second, we've balanced the camera this way and we've balanced the camera this way, right? So I'll lock that back and we'll move on to the next step. Onto the last axis. So we've done the tilt axis, we've done the roll axis back here, and now we have to do the pan axis, which is this one here on the top of the joystick, right? So we're gonna unlock this. Now, again, you have to be safe once you unlock this because the entire camera will swing around. So let's put it down and I'm gonna unlock it while it's on the table. So unlock, you see it moved there. All right, so ideally what's supposed to happen is if you lift this camera and gimbal and you tilt it to the side, it should not swing around. So let's see. Oh, no, so you see that this is not balanced, right? Because as soon as I tilt it to the side, it swings around. It should stay in this orientation, even if I tilt it to the side, and that's how you know it's balanced, right? So how you adjust that is, you look at this lever right here and you move this back and forth. It's a little bit of trial and error and feel, sliding it back and forth to see which way requires it to not move. As of right now, this is all the way to the front, and just a pro tip for you guys is I think it's easier as opposed to if you start in the middle, sometimes you don't know if you have to go forward or backwards. But if you start with like using the entire length of this extension here, and then you just work your way backwards, you'll get a better feel for if you need to go forward or backwards, because you've kind of eliminated one side. So you generally are just pushing this forward in that direction, and it's a little bit easier to get it balanced that way. So I'm going to just slowly keep pushing forward and checking until I get it level. So let's go. So unlock. And I'm just gonna slip it forward a little bit. You see the camera moving forward, and then close it back. Close it back and then lift up and tilt. Oh, I'm almost there. You see? It barely moved. So I tilted my hand, but the camera tilted as well, and it didn't roll, and it's not rolling. So I think I'm actually pretty close. That might be it. That was a lucky guess there. Let me just make sure, double check, so the camera is facing forward. I lift it up straight, tilt it down, and then tilt it to the side. And it doesn't move. So that's pretty good. All right, we'll go with that. Now that we're manually balanced, we need to auto balance this using one of the menu items in the gimbal. So first, let's put it on. So if you turn this way, you'll see, turn to the side, you'll see there's a power button here. Hold that power button down, and then you see Cinepeer come on. All right. So now that it's on, you see PF, which is pan follow. And then you have this M here, which is the mode button. So it goes through all of the different modes. So I hit it once, follow, okay. And then this is the record button for when you set up Bluetooth. And then this allows you to move with the gimbal. All right, so now again, the axis is locked, so we have to unlock all of the axes to auto balance this gimbal. So I'm gonna go ahead and unlock all of the motors. Now, because we balance the camera manually, the camera should not move or flip or roll or anything like that, like we were doing when we were actually balancing it. But you still have to be careful once you're doing this, because the camera, you know, sometimes things go wrong and the camera might roll or flip or hit something. So just be careful there. So now that all of the axes are unlocked, let me make sure. All right, there we go. So now you see if I move left or right, see, it moves, right? But it's not necessarily fine-tuned. We balanced it manually, but not as much as we could. So now we have to let the gimbal do the rest. So what you want to do is go to the side here on the right side of the gimbal. You see power, menu, and a scroll. Hit menu, and then you see the motor, advanced, and blue shutter come up. We're going to use blue shutter in a sec once we get it balanced to connect it to the camera. But for now, let's click motor, and the click button is actually the roll button. This is actually a button that you can press as well. So if I roll it left and right, you see it goes up and down. So I'm actually going to press it, and it'll go to motor, and then see auto. We're going to press auto, and then you're going to see the camera and the gimbal do a little shimmy. So it starts shaking, and then hopefully we get a check mark pretty soon. A check mark should come up here in a sec once it's done doing its thing. So it basically fine-tuned all of the axes, and there we go, check mark. Now we're going to connect the gimbal to the camera. To connect the camera to the gimbal, now we just put the camera on, and remember, this is a Sony ZV-E10 that I have here, so it's compatible. We put the camera on, and we go to the menu, hit the menu button. Now this may be different with other Sony cameras, but you know, should be pretty similar. You go to the network tab, and then go to Bluetooth settings, and then make sure your Bluetooth function is on. And then go to pairing, because we want to pair this with the gimbal. Now we're going to go down to the gimbal and go to the menu icon. So we go down to the gimbal here, and as I turn this to the side so you can see, go to the menu, hit that, and just like before, we're not going to motor this time. We're going to go down to blue shutter. So go down here and then press the button on the side again, and you see it says ZV-E10. So hit that. Nope. Well, this is asking me to disconnect because I connected it already, but you get the idea. So we're connected, right? So if I hit OK, back up on the camera, if I hit OK here, we should be good to go. So just so you see how this works with the Bluetooth function, there's 3 functions of the record button. So if you press once, like I mentioned, it then focuses the camera. If you hard press, so you go down past the first press and hard press, it starts recording. And then hard press again, it stops recording. And then if you hold the button down, it takes a picture. So now you know 3 functions: soft press, focuses; hard press, records, and then takes off recording. And then holding the button takes a pic. All right, now we have it all set up. I want to show you some quick tips and some quick ways to use this gimbal and what some of the modes are and what the controls are. So looking at the front of the gimbal, you've already seen the back. And I'll put up a picture here of the mode and the menu, power button, all that good stuff. Looking at the front, there's this dial here. If you scroll it, it rolls. Now you can actually adjust this in the settings and get this to do other functions, but as of right now it comes default as a roll. So it makes the camera roll left or roll right. All right, and now wherever you are, this is the trigger here. Wherever you are on the camera, if you want to get it back straight in front of you and balanced, you hit the trigger twice and the camera should reorient itself straight forward. Now if you hit the trigger 3 times, it goes into selfie mode, and now you hold it and it looks at you, right? So it's in selfie mode. Now from selfie mode, you can go back 3 times and it takes it back to the original orientation. Let's do that one more time. There you go. So that's the trigger and this roll axis in front of here. There's a charging port for the gimbal right on the left side. If you're facing, well, from my point of view, it's on the left. From your point of view, it's on the right. But same side as the joystick, basically, has the charging port. Lastly, let's talk about the modes. So this has 6 modes. First one being the one I think everyone uses the most, and that's pan follow. It's the PF. Right now it's in pan follow, and what pan follow does is it keeps the camera straight ahead, but if you pan, meaning go left to right, the camera will turn, right? So the pan axis is active. So if I turn this way, you see the camera turns. If I turn that way, the camera turns. But if I go back, forward, up or down, see the camera stays pointing forward, right? If I go left or right, camera stays pointing forward, right? So that's pan follow. Now if I go to the next mode, it's lock. So what lock does is it doesn't allow the camera to even pan left or right, like the pan follow mode. The camera stays forward no matter where you put it, no matter what orientation you put it in. So it's currently locked. If I turn left to pan, you see the camera stays forward. If I turn right, it stays forward. If I go down, it stays forward. If I go up and back, it stays forward. There you go. And again, while I'm here, I just wanted to show you guys the reach. Really nice long reach. Look, I'm almost into the camera here. You can look up at things high because I have this extra attachment here, the extra handle on. Just wanted to point that out, how comfortable it is to hold down here, up here, and you have a really nice control of the camera and the gimbal. So think about it. It's not necessary, but I think it'll come in useful so you don't have to be stretching all the time to get to different spots. All right, so the next mode is follow mode. So follow mode, as you can see, the camera stays front, but then you see the camera dips. It doesn't stay front anymore. It doesn't stay facing forward anymore. The camera follows the direction that you're going. So if you go down, camera goes down with you. And if you look up, the camera looks up with you. So just so you know, the follow mode, it does exactly what you're doing. So you see, if I turn left and pan left, it pans left with me. If I pan right, it pans right with me. If I look up, it looks up with me. If I look down, it looks down with me. All right? It does stay forward a bit on the roll axis, right? So you see, it starts looking and it holds slightly on the roll axis, but you get the idea. So that's follow. Now, they're almost like hidden settings. So there are 3 settings there that I just showed you: the pan, follow, lock, and follow. But if you double click the menu button, it goes to the POV setting. So the POV setting is basically an advanced setting of the follow setting, where it gives you the perspective of you looking from the camera. So again, if you think about it, if I tilt my head to the left, my horizon will tilt to the left as well. Now look at the camera. POV setting, I tilt, look at the camera. So now the horizon of the camera tilts left. If you tilt to the right, the horizon of the camera tilts to the right. So it gives a perspective of a person looking through the camera, hence POV. Hope that makes sense. If I go to the other one, double click again, it goes to vortex. So you see the camera immediately turn and look up. But vortex is for those cool barrel shots where you see someone like zooming in, but the camera starts rolling. This is it. So it turns and looks up, but then you have to turn the camera down this way. And then if you use the joystick and you go left or right, you see you get that cool. So you can do all these cool tricks with your camera and rolls and stuff. It's really cool. And the last one, so if I double click, it goes to POV, then vortex, and then portrait. So now this changes the orientation from landscape to portrait. So it requires you to do basically the same thing you did to balance the camera to get it in landscape mode in its natural orientation. You just have to readjust the arm and then turn the camera sideways. And there you go. You just go through the balancing process again. So it's not super difficult. You just take off the base, reorient it, and then start doing the balancing activities all over again. Because now that you've shifted the camera from landscape to portrait, you've shifted the weight of the camera across the gimbal. So you have to rebalance the camera. So that's that last mode. Yeah, those are the 6 modes. If you're not sure if you're centered or not, always, once you come back, just double click. If the camera doesn't move, that means you were centered. If it does, it means you corrected it. So that's it, Curated Crew. This is a really nice gimbal. It's rugged, it's sturdy, it feels good in the hand. It's cheap. It's $199 right now. So if you want to get this gimbal, go down in the description. You'll see a link to Zhiyun's website. I have the code that I put in the beginning. I'll flash it here again. You'll get the code, add that, and it'll bring the gimbal down from $249 to $199. So it's a steal of a deal. You can use this at events or anywhere if you just want to get some nice smooth footage. And yeah, I think this is a great buy for anyone, creators or otherwise. Thanks for watching. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. There'll be some great giveaways coming up in time for Prime Day. So don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you'll be notified when I upload videos and when I have giveaways. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one.